Hello ladies and gentlemen, hope you're having a great day and welcome to the Tundra Dude 34 YouTube channel. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on all your Toyota Tundra news and information and interval updates like we're doing today. We're doing an old school style Tundra Dude 34 blog. This is the kind of stuff that I used to do when I started the channel, a little drive and talk. We hit 15,000 miles on the truck. It's exactly at 15,082 miles. So I'm going to give a little update. Some people were asking for updates on the check engine light issue. So I figured instead of just doing that, let's talk about the truck over the first year and a couple months, because just like the title says, it's actually been kind of interesting owning this truck. So I want to take you back to June 2024 real quick. A little trip down memory lane. I went to a dealership that, if you've been on the channel now for a while, you know very well. It's called Conocelli Toyota in Conshohocken, Pennsylvania. I made my first visit there to do a dealership walk because I heard they had a lot of Tundras back in June 2024. And you could go back through my dealership walk playlist and see for yourself, they had like 50 to 60 Tundras. At that walk, that's where I got the idea, wow, they got a lot of Tundras. Maybe I will attempt to get a 1794 because, let's be honest, I never thought I could afford a 1794. At the time, I was driving an SR5 TRD. So I said, this might be a chance. They have a lot of inventory. I'm going to see if I could strike while the iron's hot. Well, it took until mid-September, but was able to get it done. 2024 1794 TRD that we're in today is the truck we took home. You know, I had a certain price in mind I wanted to pay and all that, so it took time to actually get to that number. We needed Toyota to change, you know, some of their rates to make it possible. You know, when you get into fall, that's when a lot of these dealerships really want to move inventory as the new model year is starting to come in. They want to get rid of the old model year. So I was in that situation and found myself, you know, in a nice 1794 that we're in today. Now, the reason I say it's been an interesting ownership situation so far is because this is the most expensive Tundra I've ever owned. And I've owned quite a few. I believe it was 9 is how many I've had. But this is the most expensive as far as the sticker goes. This was $70,585 on the sticker. And for a truck this expensive, I'm kind of surprised of the little issues here and there that I've had. Nothing crazy, nothing catastrophic, nothing that would make me never want to buy a Tundra again. But for the price point, I'm still kind of surprised that initially I dealt with a few little things. So number one, if you are familiar with the high luxury Tundras like Platinum 1794 and Capstone, you know that you get a seat extender. So there's a little button on the side of your seat. It extends the seat out a little bit for if you're on a long road trip, a little extra comfort, right? So it never worked right. It would work sometimes. Other times I would just hear the motor trying to work, but the seat would never come up. So I had to go get that taken care of. And the shop that I take my truck into, the dealership, was able to fix that right away. They had to order a part and then it was done. And from reading online, that sounds like a common issue among the high luxury trim Tundras. That's something that a lot of people complain about. And it was a brand new truck, so I was shocked right away. You know, this isn't an SR5. This is an expensive truck. So that was the first thing. It got dealt with. Number two, I was hearing a noise coming out of the rear end of the truck. And the best way I could explain it is by giving you an idea of the sound. When I was between 71 and 75 miles per hour on the highway, I would hear a wah, 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 and it was loud. Like you could hear it over the radio, you could hear it over conversation. It was loud. And when I sent it into the shop, I was like, what's going on here? I tried to do as much research as I can. Other owners talked about that as well. And the shop basically said, you know, it seems to be performing normal. We don't know. We're not hearing anything, which I don't know how you could not hear that. But over time, that noise isn't like it used to be. Is it still there? A little bit, but it's not like it used to be where you couldn't even have a conversation like it was before. Hold on, time out. We gotta get it up to speed here. This is where I love the truck. The power, the transmission shifting, the turbo sound. Gotta love it. But anyway, so they couldn't recreate the problem, which we hear fairly often when we have something wrong. We bring it into the shop and they can't recreate it. So I had that rear end sound in the beginning. It's still there now, but it's faint. It's not like it used to be. I barely notice it anymore. Certainly not as loud as it once was. So I'm not going to say that's fixed. I'm just going to say to be continued on that one. The other issue I had is there was a sound coming from what I thought was the windshield. It sounded like at the top of the windshield, there was a little bit of wind noise, and it wasn't all the time. It was just on certain days in certain situations, the direction of the wind, that kind of thing. Couldn't figure it out. Again, the shop couldn't figure it out. And I'm not saying I fixed it, but I don't hear it anymore. And I think the reason is when I first bought the truck and was hearing the sound, it was going into fall. So I never had my moonroof open, right? It wasn't something like, oh, I'm gonna come home because it's 80 degrees and open up the moonroof. It was already getting cold. So I had the shade open like you see now, which I do very often, but I just wasn't opening the moonroof a lot. In the spring, when I started to open the moonroof more often, the noise went away. So I'm thinking that it had something to do with the way the moonroof was sealing, when you put it in the closed position. And I don't have that sound at all anymore, so it wasn't anything in the windshield. It was just this moonroof not being able to close correctly. The last time I heard that sound or any kind of noise that sounds like wind getting in was, I don't even know, back when I first sent it in. And then a little while after that, when I started to use my moonroof often, it went away. So my guess is it had something to do with the moonroof. And I'll let you know if that noise ever comes back. So that was all right away stuff that was going on in a $70,000 Tundra, coming from Tundras that I've never had a problem with. So I was like, wow, you go up into the high trim stuff and here we are dealing with a couple things here or there. And those were the only problems I dealt with at the time. I think they're all taken care of. The engine runs strong and all that, so we're good on the stuff that would really matter. But my final issue I want to talk about, which I always say to people, it happened a month ago, but since then I've talked about it a lot. It's more self-inflicted. A check engine light popped on when I was about 100 or so miles away from home, coming home from a dealership in Pennsylvania. And of course, I instantly thought the worst, because of, what we've been reading on the internet with some owners out there with engine troubles. And the check engine light came on and it started to tell me all these things were wrong, right? It was saying my sonar isn't working, had a lot of different warnings. And, with today's vehicles, when you get a check engine light, all of a sudden, a lot of things are saying they don't work, which is something you have to get used to if you're not used to the technology of today. But I got the check engine light. I came home, my buddy came over with his scan tool, and it said a crankcase hose was disconnected. So what we did is we couldn't find a hose that was disconnected. We went and we checked all the hoses in that area, everything, and basically made sure everything was properly installed and snug and everything was good. And then we reset the check engine light. Well, the good news about that check engine light is it's over 1,000 miles now and it hasn't come back. The truck never drove weird or different or sounded like there was anything catastrophic going on. The only way I knew there was a check engine light on is because the truck was telling me there was a check engine. So the first thing I was looking for was some kind of difference in the driving of the truck, hoping my engine didn't blow or something like that. But we reset the light on that day. I believe it was October 1st. And I've been driving to the dealerships and everything I normally do with the truck, over 1,000 miles now, and still the check engine light has not come back. So the reason I say that's self-inflicted is I've added some stuff to the Tundra over the time of this year of ownership, including I put on cold air intakes and turbo inlet pipes. Now I installed the turbo inlet pipes about a month before the check engine light, so that could have been something that caused that check engine light to come on. But again, I will keep you updated if anything changes with that check engine and it does come back. Now let's talk about some of the things we added to this truck in this year in case you have a Tundra and you want some suggestions on some good stuff to get. I want to start with the X-Tang ALX tonneau cover. It's a solid trifold tonneau cover. I always like the soft cover, not the hard cover tops. I will never have a soft cover top again. I absolutely love this thing. It does a great job at keeping the rain out, which I thought would be something that it wouldn't do so well with, because some hard tops are known for rain getting in, but this does a really good job with that. And the hard tops are great because they're more secure than the soft tops as far as protecting your stuff in the bed. Other than that, we've put in the LazFit floor mats, the LazFit bed mat. They're fantastic. They're a partner with the channel. If you're interested in those, go down in the description of this video. You will see my custom link and promo code TundraDude34 to save 15% site-wide over there. great floor mats. If you have a new generation Tundra and you don't have that spray-in liner that comes on some of them, you may want to look into a bed mat because the composite bed is insanely slippery. Lasfit has it. It's in my truck. It's great. Check them out. We also added the AFE Momentum GT cold air intakes. They've been in the truck now for almost a year. They're great. Give the turbos a little more noise. You get a little more of that throttle response. Highly recommend that. This has the dual tip TRD exhaust that is on the TRD Pro. That is an axle back exhaust. All it does is take away the resonators. You're not going to get a crazy horsepower boost or anything like that. It just makes the engine give a little more roar with that exhaust. And I'm very particular when it comes to, you know, exhaust noise, especially in like a V6 situation. So this is a perfect exhaust. It gives a little more noise without, you know, being obnoxious or making the truck sound like a Honda Civic. So that's very important to me. What else did we put in this truck? I always forget things. Go Rhino, RB20 slim running boards. Highly recommend those as well. I'm not a big running board fan, but my wife insisted this truck needs running boards. So Go Rhino, RB20 running boards. They have a regular size ones that are a little bit thicker than the ones I have, which are called the Slims. Super easy install. There's already threaded holes in the truck where you would put the side steps, so you don't have to do any drilling. It's a very simple install. Check those out if you're thinking about side steps. So those are some of the things we added to the truck. Those are some of the problems I've had with the Tundra since I've had it for now 15,000 miles and a year and a couple months. Now let's get to the good stuff. First off, people ask this all the time. Would you buy another Tundra with some of the things that you've had going on, these small little issues? Again, absolutely. Am I happy with this Tundra? Absolutely. Those are small little issues, and doing this channel, I want to let you guys know every single time I'm having any issue, whether it be big or small, because if you're going to spend your hard-earned money, I want you to know everything you may deal with. All right, there's other people out there that have other issues that, you know, post on the forums with that, but in this case, I'm talking about my particular 2024 1794. Very happy with the truck. In these trips that I go to these dealerships all over the place, some of them are 2.5 hours away from home, one way. So the comfort of the seats in this, the little luxury feature options on it, like the JBL sound system when I'm listening to music is great. You know, the pano moonroof is great. That kind of stuff, the luxury accoutrements, I am happy to have with the trips that I always take in this truck. So that may not mean much to you as if you're someone that travels locally or you don't care about luxury features. In that case, check out the SR5, check out the Limited, save even more money if you don't want all the extra features. But for how I use this truck, I definitely appreciate the extra features in this truck. The driving of the truck, which you hear me talk about all the time when I review these things, is something that needs to be talked about as often as possible. This truck drives fantastic. The transmission shifts flawlessly with the engine, in my opinion, you know, in my driving with the truck. The 10-speed transmission does a great job. The engine is powerful. I have the regular 3.4 liter twin turbo V6. I do not have the hybrid. So this has less horsepower, but I will tell you, even though this has less horsepower, it's not underpowered. That's one of those things people always ask, is the non-hybrid engine, does it get the truck moving? Absolutely. 389 horsepower, 479 pound-feet of torque. It does just fine. I don't ever feel like this truck is underpowered, even a little bit. So if you're in the market, you could save almost $4,000 by not going hybrid. I strongly suggest test drive both. I have absolutely no remorse for not going into that hybrid direction. Don't get me wrong, the hybrid is powerful, it's fantastic, but you lose your under-seat storage. You got the engine cutting in and out. Sometimes you're on battery, sometimes you're on engine. To some, that could be very annoying. But for this, I just basically start the truck, I turn off the engine start-stop button so it doesn't shut off at every traffic light, and we're good to go. And I'm as happy as can be. So keep that in mind if you're shopping for your Tundra. As always, go to toyota.com build and price tool and see your pricing and some of the equipment that comes on these trucks to get exactly what you want, because these trucks are not cheap. So you want to make sure that you get the stuff you want and you don't settle very expensive trucks these days. So overall, very happy with the truck. Would I buy it again? Yes. Would I buy it again knowing of the little issues I've had with the truck? Yes. It's still a positive experience. I'm just not used to it because all the other Tundras I've had, there hasn't really been any problems at all. I mean, I got a flat tire on one, but that doesn't count, you know? Everything on here has been minor, and the biggest thing that popped in my mind when they were happening was, it was immediately when I bought the new truck, so brand new luxury Tundra, instantly having little issues here and there. And again, coming from 8 other Tundras, I've never really had an issue. So, but these videos are made for you, so you know everything that goes on through the ownership experience. I would think my next ownership update will probably be 25,000 miles. People ask about oil changes, just real quick, last thing in the video. Toyota recommends oil changes every 10,000 miles. I get them every time the truck goes in for service. So every 5,000 miles. And some people will say you're wasting money because you're not following the recommendations of the manufacturer. That's fine. I'll waste my money for peace of mind all day, every day. So this truck gets an oil change every 5,000 miles. And it will continue to get an oil change every 5,000 miles. And the next Tundra will get an oil change every 5,000 miles as well. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok at TundraDude34, TundraDude34@gmail.com. You guys have a great day. Be safe, be well. And if you are an owner of a new generation Toyota Tundra, go down in the comments and let us know. How's your ownership experience been so far? Take care.